All right, it's 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started on time. I know folks' time is limited. Welcome, everybody. We're really pleased to be able to present this webinar this morning, Hiring Best Practices. We know that our businesses, many of them are experiencing a lot of difficulty in hiring and retaining employees right now. So we wanted to bring together some partners who have some resources that you can take advantage of. So we've got a great lineup here today. We're really pleased to be partnering with Hot Jobs, Colorado Mountain College, Colorado Workforce Center, the Glenwood Springs Chamber, and Carbondale Chamber. So I'm Angie Anderson with the Glenwood Springs Chamber, by the way. So we're just going to go ahead and roll through this. This is being recorded. We would ask that everybody just go ahead and mute themselves during the presentations. And at the very end, we should have plenty of time for questions. So keep track of your questions, and we will go through as many of them as we possibly can toward the end. So thank you for joining us, and let's go. So first, you're going to hear from Carolyn Tucker with the Colorado Workforce Center. She's going to kind of paint the picture of what we're experiencing right now in the workforce arena. And then we'll be joined by Lisa Doak and Norman Guzman Duran from Colorado Mountain College. And then they have another guest from the School of Business at Colorado Mountain College to share some resources that they have available. And then Kathryn Consoli with Hot Jobs will share what they can do to help your business. And then Andrea, Stewart, and Katie Monty with the Carbondale Chamber. And then myself, Sara Schell, and Tara Harmon will talk about what we have available at our respective chambers. So, and then again, at the end, we'll have plenty of time for questions. So please get those ready, and we want to take the time to really dive into those questions. I think that's going to be the heart of all of this. So Carolyn, I'm going to let you take over right now. I'll go ahead and run the slideshow. If you want to just tell me next slide, and we'll roll right through. So welcome, Carolyn. Thank you for joining us.
Sounds great. Thanks. Thank you so much, Angie, and thanks everyone for being here. It's a challenging time, to say the least. I'm going to go through these a little bit quickly because we've got some great presenters after me. So I'm just going to paint that picture of what we're looking at. I am Carolyn Tucker, the Regional Business Services Coordinator based in Glenwood Springs, serving Garfield County and Pitkin County. And that's a picture of Hanging Lake as it used to be, and hopefully will be soon to be recovered, like in a nice, pretty picture like that. Next slide, please. Here's our Workforce Center staff that is based in Glenwood, and these are some of the services that we offer. Skills assessment, training opportunities, resume, changing jobs, changing careers. And then on the employer side, we actually work on business education events, labor market information, and look at some employee recruitment and retention strategies. My contact information is at the end, so reach out to me if you have any questions or need any assistance. Next slide, please. And one other thing about the Workforce Center, we have, since everything is remote and we've done a lot with technology, we do have remote office hours throughout the valley, up Parachute to Aspen. And if hopefully these slides will be available to everybody, so everyone will have this as a resource. But we are trying to get out to the community and meet them where they live. And we're all good to go. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so here we are. Lots of job openings, lots of vacancies. Businesses are having a hard time having to possibly cut hours and cut services because they don't have enough staff. So let's dive in to see exactly what's going on with that. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a slide of my brain. Just wanted to, after 2020 and 2021, we're all pretty much just kind of play whack-a-mole with what's next. How do we fight this? How do we work on this? What are some of the strategies? Oh, that didn't work. Got to throw that out. We're really just at this point, and so are our employees. Lots of stress is going on. It's just a really crazy time. So next slide, please. This is what's going on. These are the factors that are influencing the labor force, and it is complicated. It's not just unemployment benefits. It is that retirements have doubled in 2020. We already knew that a lot of baby boomers were at that time in their careers that they were going to step away from the workforce, that they were going to retire. The pandemic escalated that and doubled that retirement. So you've got a lot of knowledge walking out the door. There's also a declining US birth rates, and it's affecting how many people are coming into the labor force. Another really strange one is that the male prime age labor force participation rate, this is how many men that are eligible in that demographic age range, has declined. So we don't have as many men in the workforce. The pandemic has really hit women hard because they've dropped out of the labor force primarily to take care of kids, because childcare is an issue across the nation, but really an issue here in the Roaring Fork and Colorado River valleys. We've seen that before, and it is really sticking it to a lot of the women. The visa workers dropped 88% last year. I just saw something yesterday that has, they've got it back to a good number for this year, but last year it was really, I think it was down to several hundred instead of several thousand in Colorado. The unemployment benefits are really not causing the labor market challenges that we are seeing. They do play a point, but they all ended in September. And then obviously the ongoing public health crisis. A lot of people are kind of reevaluating the work. You've heard the great resignation and people are resigning. Well, I want to say it's reevaluating. It's reevaluating what I want to do, what's my work-life balance, and what job do I really want to do? So that's the reevaluation going on. Next slide, please. And here's something that's pretty interesting is why employees are considering changing jobs. And yes, pay is a good indicator that people are looking for more pay. And now is the time that employers are raising wages. And so people are jumping ship to go find a better compensation package and benefit package. But look at this, 25% are looking for a better work-life balance. And that is what this pandemic has brought to the forefront is people want to work remote, they want to work from home, or they want to do a hybrid, or they want to have more time for their family. So that's another thing that can influence the workplace, and employers can actually embrace that type of issue with employees. And here's that great resignation I was talking about. This is across the US. Over 4 million workers have quit. And so what that means to an employer is that retention is critical. How are you, once you get your employees, which the panelists after me will talk about, how do you keep them? And if you are a employer of choice, or you have a really cool industry, this is an opportunity to attract different workers who are looking to make a change. Next slide, please. This is a real simple graph, but this is just the unemployment rates that we've seen pre-pandemic on the far left, and Garfield County was actually 2.5% before the pandemic. So this labor shortage is not new. You can see the big spike for the April, May, and June and July of 2020. The orange-ish is Pitkin County, which primarily is hospitality. And so they got hit hard with hotels and ski resorts. And then the blue is Garfield County. You can see the little spikes in Pitkin counties, which is the typical seasonal layoffs that we always see. And now both of our counties are down to Garfield County is 4-point unemployment and Pitkin is 4.2. So we're getting back to that same level of employee shortage that we had before the pandemic. Next slide, please. And this is just the Northwest Colorado, this is 10-county Northwest Colorado average unemployment rate during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, again, seeing it down to 2.6 and now hitting closer to 4. So this is an aggregate. Next slide, please. And this is what I was talking about. Again, before before the pandemic, you see the pre-pandemic talent deficit, where we had more jobs than we had people. Obviously, it took a big spike with more people than jobs during the pandemic, and now we've returned to that talent deficit. So we're back where we were in 2019. But the demand for services has been greater than was in 2019. So we're seeing more stress in the employer base. Next slide, please. This is an interesting slide. This is basically average annual wage in the Northwest workforce area. Again, you can see the counties on the 10 counties on the left, and you can see your average annual wage as compared to the state of Colorado. So the average annual wage in Colorado is $71,000 and change, and they have a cost of living factor of 111. If you think of the US being baseline of 100, it costs more to live in Colorado. If you look at Garfield County, our wages are about $14,000 different than the state of Colorado average wage. And it's more expensive to live in Garfield County than it is across the state of Colorado. Pitkin County up the road is at 149. So again, and they're below the state average wage as well. So we have a wage issue. It'll be interesting to see. This is based in the wages were pulled, I want to say August of this year. It'll be interesting to see year over year what we're going to see from a wage growth, because we are seeing average wages increase in order to get employees. So this will be an interesting trend to catch. Next slide, please. This is from the state demographer's office. Here's your trends that are going on across Colorado. The population is actually slowing. It's growing at a slower rate. Births are down, deaths are up, again, because those baby boomers are aging out, and we are 65 plus are seeing a death rate and mortality rate increasing. The migration in and out are slowing. It is harder to attract and retain the best and brightest. And that is something that the entire nation is seeing. So look for states and communities actively soliciting employee attraction strategies, because we are not only competing Garfield County against Denver, we're competing against Nashville or Asheville or Detroit. So the competition for the best and brightest is only going to increase on a state level. We're seeing concentrated growth in Colorado, which is primarily on the Front Range. So how do we get people from the Front Range over here, or access to remote jobs for our people who live in the community right now, who can take advantage of some of that remote job on the Front Range. Aging, everything is happening. We're all getting older. If you can figure out how to fix that, just let me know. The largest share of the future growth is a 65 plus. So that has impacts on your hospitals and your training programs, CMC, CNA programs. And then we also have racial and ethnic diversity. A lot of trends we're watching. Next slide, please. And then the impacts of COVID-19. Again, the birth rate was even dropped slower. Deaths, obviously, 2 excessive deaths with COVID. The employment impacts to those folks, those demographics listed there. Yeah, so bottom line, it means that we have less people who are looking, who we can find to put into jobs, and that increase, and that means changes from an employer base. Next slide, please. Real quick, the Office of the Future of Work says these 3 things are really going to happen, escalate. We already saw technological advances going on with COVID, accelerating the use of automation, computers, online, Zoom, robots, everything, because we don't have enough people to work. So you're going to see more of a shift, and a rapid shift at that. Next slide, please. And that's it. That's a quick and dirty. Happy to talk, answer any questions after the fact. Here's my contact information, and I will turn it back over to Angie. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Carolyn. That's great information, and hopefully that really sets us up for what it is that we're experiencing right now. And now we can talk about some of the resources available. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Doak with Colorado Mountain College.
Hi, Lisa. I'm afraid you're on mute.
Yeah.
You know, that is the cup that I need. I'm on mute. It's the story of my life. Thanks so much. Well, thanks so much for having CMC here. And I work at Central Services out of Glenwood Springs. And as many of you know, we have 11 locations all over the Western Slope. And so what I wanted to share today is just briefly about the service that we offer for anyone to post jobs on our CMC webpage, specifically a platform called Purple Briefcase. And that is then available to all CMC current students and alumni. And so we frequently encourage our students and alumni to go there and check out jobs. It is free to employers. So I have a few slides here that will share how you can easily do that. It just takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and you can go in at any point as an employer and update your listings. So as you can see here on the left, Career Connect is the name of the platform. That's what you're going to be looking for when you go in. This is the URL, and we encourage people to just bookmark that so you can quickly go back to it. Next slide, please. This is what the page is going to look like when you get there, and it is the login page again for Purple Briefcase, and it's the platform that we use. It's what students also go to, and alum to check out jobs. And you can see here, this is the button that you want to look for. Next slide, please. And then it's a pretty simple process. So you'll select new employer, and then there will be several panels that come up, and you can click on the free option on the left-hand side. There's going to be a brief listing of EEO standards that we just ask you to review and acknowledge. And then you're on to building your profile as an employer. And we encourage you to put in a logo and put in as much information as you can. And next slide, please. Once you put in that information, then there is just a really quick process that I go in and review employer requests to post and can quickly approve them and then post your jobs. So these are a couple of examples of what an employer's post looks like on our job board. And students could learn a little bit more about a company that wants to list jobs, and then click on it and read the information that you enter. Next slide, please. What you can do then when you go back into the platform at any point in time is to edit your profile if there's anything that changes. We encourage you, there are many options that you can click on, and so you can highlight some of the advantages, opportunities with your particular company that might make it attractive to employees as they're looking for things. Carolyn talked about that work-life balance and people looking for more in an employment environment. And so the more you can put in there, I think the more likely you're going to draw attention to your particular ad. One other note is that you can choose to have your listing added to other schools around the state that use Purple Briefcase. And so there are many schools, colleges, and universities in the state that also use that. And so just as an FYI, your job can be posted around the state then. And then you can go back in and look at potential candidates that you might be interested in. We encourage you in the different fields that it's asking you for information, you can select and input how you would like your process to run. So if you simply want people to go back to your website to submit an application, you list that, and they'll click on that link and go into whatever your normal process is. Next slide, please. Then we're on to Dr. Norma Guzman Duran, and she is going to share with you a little bit more about our business program and how we can help develop a workforce and kind of do more with growing our own. Norma?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. So our School of Business at Colorado Mountain College offers the Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration, as you can see, and then the Bachelor's of Applied Science. The minors is new. This was introduced, I believe, fall of this semester. I recently arrived here, so I believe it was this semester. So the minors do offer an option for the students to opt for an internship or a service learning opportunity. And we also offer the accounting and real estate certificates. Next slide, please. So in order to help each other and be able to supply the best of our Colorado Mountain College School of Business program, we have to provide opportunities for our students to have paid internships. So that's key in how we're going to structure the internship process for the School of Business. So that means that we have to develop and create paid internship opportunities. And that simply means that there would be an agreement between Colorado Mountain College and the prospective employer, partner, industry partner. Part of that process that we're currently working on is the industry analysis. So we want to make sure that we are aligning the curriculum to the region's workforce skills. But in order to do that, we have to somehow analyze what are the job skills, what are the industries that are interested in providing paid internships, so that we can supply that regional workforce with graduates that meet all of the industry needs, community, nonprofit, corporations, whatever it may be. So we're in the process in the next year to develop those industry partnerships so that we can supply the workforce. So today, Robert Cartelli is going to provide these amazing stories of the work that our students are currently doing in the community, whether it's service learning or internship opportunities. But I do look forward in working with our community so we can start developing those formal paid internship opportunities for our School of Business. Robert, next slide.
Good morning. Thank you for having me along. Talk a little bit about the internship program. I will tell you that it's a proven program, and I'll tell you why. We have two options for students and for our community partners to work with our students. More of a traditional internship, where the student would go out to a community partner, work with the community partner, and develop the skills, the talents, the competencies, whatever it might be in their area of study. Service leadership is a little bit different. Service leadership is where the student takes what they've learned in the class, whether it's accounting or finance, marketing, management, sustainable business, whatever it might be. The student goes out to the community and offers those skills, those talents to a community partner, typically a local nonprofit. So those are the two types of, I would say, experiential learning opportunities, hands-on experiential learning opportunities. We have internship and service leadership, and we never stop. All right, we go 12 months of the year. We're starting with the fall semester, and then coming up the spring semester, we go throughout the summer. So we run internships and service leadership opportunities for students and community partners 12 months of the year. In addition to that experiential learning or the hands-on piece, again, the internship or the service leadership piece, we have something called the leadership route. And what that is that's the soft skills. Right? The internship and the service leadership, the experience piece, we'll call that the hands-on or the hard skills. The leadership wrapper is more about the soft skills. So we have the students work on things called time management, emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, leadership, teamwork, social responsibility, civic engagement, decision-making. Those soft skills that we wrap around that fieldwork experience. So between the hard skills or the fieldwork experience and the hands-on or the soft skills, the leadership wrapper, we like to say that it helps our students become a complete, capable, confident, and competent, both professional and citizen. We've done internships everywhere, all across the CMC service range, all over the world. And you'll see there Bangladesh, China, Guatemala, and again, throughout the USA. I would tell you that the, across the USA piece, we've done, let's say, marketing internships in Chicago, sustainability type internships up in the Northwest, and also on the East Coast. So we can be flexible in where and when, right, students do their internship or receive service leadership opportunities. We can also work in teams, right? The example there at Copper Mountain was a few years ago. We sent a team of 5 students to a national championship event. Make a long story short, 3 of the students were doing marketing before and during the event. 2 of the students were doing an economic impact study. So we never stop. We combine the hard skills with the soft skills. We never stop. We can go around the world. We can go across Colorado. We can work individuals and teams. So a lot of resources and capabilities there. We also have, for anyone who's interested in becoming a CMC community partner and working with our students, we have an internship and service handbook that outlines the roles, responsibilities, and generally how the program works. So there's some resources there. So let's go to next. All right, these are the fall students. These are the fall students, just some examples. Right, there's Melinda in the upper left. She is a business student here at the Summit campus, where I am, at the campus. But she's working with CMC, the CMC HR department in Glenwood Springs, right? Learning all the different functions of an HR department. And I will tell you that that probably the most intriguing thing she's working on is rolling out a new set of benefits to employee a certain segment of our employee base here. So she's getting a chance to learn something about recruiting, hiring, benefits, and so on. But she has a big role to play in developing, I would say, the presentation and the communication of new benefits to a group of employees who've never had those benefits before. So on the right, Itzel is working with a Eagles construction company. And they brought her on to work on a rebranding project. Well, she got there and started working on the rebranding project, very much a creative side of the marketing piece. Right? And she realized, and they realized, that there's a lot more work to be done, right, in the basic business process. So they brought her on board to help with rebranding and marketing, and she really is ending up, I wouldn't say redesigning their business, but certainly working on a whole slew of different business processes to help the organization function more, I would say, more effectively and efficiently, not just on the marketing side. So let's go to next. And on the left-hand side, you'll see Gregory. This is an example of a service leadership project where the student takes what they've learned in the classroom. Gregory is a business student with working on a marketing minor. And as Dr. Norma pointed out, when students choose a minor, right, that also means they need to do some sort of experiential learning. Gregory is a marketing minor. His experiential learning project is more of a service leadership type rather than a traditional internship, where he's taking his his marketing skills, talents, competencies, tools, everything he's developed in the classroom. And he went out and worked with the Summit Musicians Relief. And some of you know that because of COVID, musicians can't work like they used to. So he is working on developing marketing campaigns for fundraising events. And I think this is at the Dillon Amphitheater here. marketing campaigns for Summit Musicians Relief Fund for fundraisers to generate funds to support the musicians while they might not be working like they're used to. Right. What's interesting here is that he's doing the work for Summit Musicians Relief Fund, and a lot of the musicians have turned around and said, "Hey, listen, you're doing a really great job for Summit Musicians Relief Fund. Can you help us?" All right. So it's gone from just the organization to now helping the individual musicians market their talents. And one last one on the lower right, a little bit different. Aaron is working for an author who has, I think, 7 or 8 different books, marketing, I think, children's books, helping that author market her books. And as something of interest, she's working with search engine marketing, search engine optimization, so the digital side, the web piece. Right. Along with that, she has earned her beginners at this point Google Analytics certification. So a lot of neat things going on with our students, both in the internship, I would say more traditional internship space, but also in the service space where they take what they've learned in the classroom, go out into the community, help a community service organization, which then in turn helps the community. So it's double duty there. I will say what might be of interest. I did go back and look. We did have one student a couple of summers ago work with Carbondale Farmers Market. Some of you may know Jamie Wall over at Carbondale Farmers Market. Katrina was there one summer, and then in Glenwood we had a student, I think it was last summer, work with Glenwood Insurance Agents. So those are the 2 most recent that I can think of that worked over on the western side of the CMC service area. So that's where we are. And so if you have any questions either with the internship or service leadership programs, how that works, feel free to track me down through CMC.
Thank you, Robert. This is just our contact information. The job board is for general jobs, but if you're interested in developing a formal partnership that would require the agreement between Colorado Mountain College and the industry partner, that would be a little bit of a different process because it requires academic credit and we require paid internships. You can just send me an email and we can send myself or Robert an email and we can go from there on how we develop that formal partnership for paid internships for our students for the School of Business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. What great resources we have right in our community, and what a really great program for both students and employers. So hopefully some of our attendees today will take advantage of the job posting resources and maybe get some more internships going in the community. So now I'm going to turn it over to Kathryn Consoli with Hot Jobs. Kathryn, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. As I was saying, as all employers, yes, we have found this to be quite an interesting year. But moving forward, I think that it's going to basically just allow employers to kind of think outside of the box in this new environment. To give you some background on our firm, we've been at the same location in Carbondale for the last 13 years at the Alpine Center. Companies hire us to hire for them because number one, it's time management. We act as the employer of record, and probably 80% of the jobs are temp to hire, in which we pay direct deposit. We screen and recruit for administrative, industrial, hospitality. Our firm pretty much hires for everything except for sales and medical. And basically what we've been really finding is we're encouraging employees to get back to work. Higher pay scales across the board. I would say that we are increasing the pay scales by $2 an hour, $2 to $3 an hour. Bonus pay, encouraging clients that once they complete their probationary period of time, that there's a bonus to encourage the the candidate to stay in the position. It is an employee's market right now, and we're finding that when employees are coming in, they're being picky. They have many choices. The COVID shot, that is becoming an issue. We have our larger employers that are requiring COVID shots. I am amazed by how many individuals in our valley have not received their shot yet, and hoping that that does change, because I think it's going to just become more of an issue with other, situations, but with employment, we're having to turn people away with these larger employers. Flex pay, being able to work at home, I think is a great way to get people encouraged to go back to work. We have many of our clients that we have candidates that are working in a home environment, and for employees coming to our place of business, it allows them to see how they like a job, because both partners need to see if it's a win-win. Are they fitting in the culture of the company? Is the person feeling comfortable in the culture of the company? And so it's a great way for both parties to see how it's working out before rolling over to the client's payroll. And our policy is, once a candidate has been on our payroll for 520 hours, which is just over 3 months, they can roll over to the client's payroll. There's no conversion fee. So it's a wonderful way for both parties to see how it's working out. But we are running into a lot of direct hires as well, just because of the fact that with employers seeking talent these days, many employees are currently working that to fill some of these positions. And it's really coming down to the dollar. It's very expensive, as we all know, to live in the Valley. Housing has become a big issue. Rents are enormously changing rapidly. And so employers are finding that to grab talent from another company, increasing their salary and having other benefits is also a way to start retaining help in their office. And that kind of gives you an overall view. Please feel free to call me if I can help you with any of your positions that you're seeking to fill, or if I can be of assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathryn. Would you mind putting your contact information in the chat so that everyone on the that's attending can get in touch with you? Thank you very much. And next, we're going to turn it over to Katie and Andrea at the Carbondale Chamber.
Hi, thank you all for being here today. My name is Andrea Stewart, and I'm in my 14th year with the Carbondale Chamber, and have really seen a lot of the ebbs and flows in our economy with my time here, starting in 2008 and then going into the recession. It's been very interesting with jobs and the economy as a whole. In addition to my role as the Carbondale Chamber Executive Director, I serve as the board chair for the Association of Colorado Chambers of Commerce, which is a nonpartisan entity of the Colorado Chamber. And that really helps provide, some statewide insight as to what we're seeing, and good or bad. It's reassuring to know that our valley is not the only one going through this workforce shortage right now. The Carbondale Chamber is home to over 450 members, and we proudly work closely with our community partners, including the chambers up and down the valley. We have a number of benefits, and specifically today we'll touch on resources that you as a Carbondale Chamber member can take advantage of, especially our job postings and our e-communications. And Katie, our office manager, will get into that here shortly. The Carbondale Chamber is completely paperless, so all of our member communications take place via email. And we're really proud to share with you today that we have over 1,000 recipients that receive those emails with an open rate of 30%, which is 6% higher than the industry average for chambers of our size. We also have some great opportunities for employees and employers to take advantage of, as Carolyn mentioned, just really getting our employees excited to get to work. So including ski pass discounts with Aspen Skiing Company and Sunlight Mountain Resort. One thing that we are seeing, and I'm sure you are too, whether it's boots out on the ground or people walking into your business, is there's a lot of moving parts. So it's definitely a friendly reminder to love local, and it's okay to be transparent. And we're seeing, more and more signs going up for people that are hiring. And we also, see the sign in the local coffee shop, which sadly we do need a friendly reminder to be patient and to be kind. And, just keep in mind that this is new and we're still in it. This morning, actually, when I was dropping off our toddler at daycare, for some reason, A Whole New World from Aladdin I started singing that because it's just different. We've not been through this. And our daycare personally just went back to pre-pandemic hours. So again, we're still seeing shifts in everyday changes. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. And in general, just please reach out to your local chamber if you have any questions or ways that you'd like to get more involved. Update your member listing, your member profile, which is included in your membership. So with that, I'll turn it over to Katie, our office manager, and she'll go into details and how you can take advantage of a few of those benefits. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andrea. So I am the office manager for the chamber, and I work closely with our members who are wanting to take advantage of their benefits with things such as our e-communications, as Andrea touched on briefly. We have a resource that I put together on our website, carbondale.com, since, as she mentioned, we are paperless. Andrea is going to pop that into the chat so you can check it out. And that just breaks down our variety of benefits that are offered to members. And I especially wanted to highlight job postings. We have free job postings on carbondale.com. So it's just yet another place for you to get that job that you need to hire for out in front of people. And then you can share that link. You can update it. You can put a time limit on that job posting. And then what you do to submit that is you have your member login, and I'm the person to talk to if you need help with that. Katie at carbondale.com. We'll put that in the chat too. But we can get you to log in and you can just submit that job posting, and that can be live as long as you need it to be until the position's full. Another great way to get information out is with our e-communications options. We send 3 different types of emails to our membership base. And as Andrea mentioned, that's about 1,000 contacts. And we do see above average open rates and click rates for those emails that we're sending. We have a free weekly newsletter. That's a text only option. And I'm the person that those are submitted to. We'll put the e-communications one-pager in the chat as well, so you can reference that and save it for later use. And that just also goes into details on these emails. So we do the weekly newsletter. We do a once a month e-flyer. So like if you have a poster of like reasons why you should come work for us, here's our company information, here's our, like, some people call it like their like job stoke or like employee satisfaction highlights and what position you're hiring for. Like that's just an example of one way to get information out there. That's $10. And in some membership packages, that's included complimentary once or twice a year. There's also a $100 option to send out a solo blast where it's only your information, and that's all eyes on you. People just are seeing your content that you've submitted. So for the deadlines for the weekly, that's every Wednesday at noon. Get that information to me. The monthly is the last Wednesday of every month. And then standalone, the send date is flexible and content is flexible since the member is paying for that space. But again, that's all listed on our e-communications page. And then the new member trail map kind of goes over a bigger variety of all the benefits that we offer, included in our initial Basecamp membership, which is kind of where we start out. And one thing too, like to speak to the employee satisfaction and to get people excited, is we offer our monthly networking event. And Andrea and I have recently decided to kind of shift our time up earlier from like 4 to 6 p.m. It previously was like 5 p.m. and afterwards. But for people like me, I'm hourly. I wouldn't be able to go to a networking event at like 6 o'clock and be paid for it unless it was specially approved. But it's really fun to like, and we're seeing a shift in our events. We are starting to see more of a younger crowd coming. We are seeing more women who are in the workforce attending these events. And it's a really fun opportunity for people to grab a coworker, sound and be like, hey, go to business after hours. It's for chamber members and their guests. They can even grab a colleague or a client or even a friend is fine, as long as we get them registered, and they can come and meet other people and have beverage, have some snacks, and just have some time to feel connected in their local work environment and community and beyond. So for those people who aren't totally remote, or if it is that person who only is working from home, if they want to get out of the house and go talk to some adults or some other people, that's a really fun way to get your employees out there and give them something different to kind of add variety. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, please get in touch with Andrea or myself. She'll put our contact in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie and Andrea. And I get your e-communications. You do a great job. And we love working with our neighboring chambers. And I think you're going to hear some really similar opportunities for the Glenwood Springs Chamber. But I will let our staff go into some of those details, but do take advantage of the benefits offered if you're a part of the Carbondale Chamber, the Glenwood Chamber, the Western Garfield, the Salt, Aspen, any and all of them. Please do take advantage. It's just a great way to get your information out and also to make some good business-to-business connections. So I'm going to turn it over to Sarah and Tara with our staff. I'm just going to start off. We just launched a new website earlier this summer. And so this is just a screenshot of it. We now have an opportunity for job postings as well, just like the Carbondale Chamber. So again, post it in all the places that you can, but we can get you signed up and get going on that opportunity. But we're really excited to finally have this availability. So if you're interested, please let us know. The page is directly on our website. It's under that What's New tab, and that's the direct link. So if you haven't signed up for or if you haven't set up your new account, please get in contact with us and we will help you do that. So I'll let Sarah talk about some of our communications available.
Morning, everybody. Like Angie said, I'm Sarah with the Glenwood Springs Chamber. My title is Director of Marketing and Member Developments. Next on our list is our business focus biweekly email. So we do this email every other Tuesday, and members can submit jobs and anything they want to talk about. If they have an upcoming event, if they have some news, a new employee, a special award, all the things from A to Z, we put that in our biz focus, and that we do a button and that connects them to the members page. But it's great. We've had a few folks take advantage of just adding and sending us some job postings. Our email goes out to, I believe, 1,300 people every 2 weeks, which is great. And we're adding more by the day, I feel. And then our social media, we also are happy to help with that on our Facebook and Instagram accounts. If somebody has a job and they're like, hey, or one of the special events, we're happy to get that up on our social media links and just help spread the good word of the community and our members.
And Tara, do you want to talk about the B2b broadcasts?
I will. So it's, again, you hear a lot of similarities to the Carbondale Chamber, but we do offer a B2b broadcast, which is a business-to-business broadcast. It is an independent e-blast for a business that we do send out, and it's very flexible in time and content. Many of our memberships do include a certain handful of these e-blasts. So if you are a member and you're curious if you do have those, please give us a call. Call Sarah. She's happy to let you know. Otherwise, they are $75. And we do send that out to over 1,300 people. And it is independent, focuses on your business and your business alone. So if you want to let everyone know that you're hiring or anything, we can do that. I mean, anything that you would like us to help you with, we can certainly send out. It is important to let everyone know that if you send us this information for this e-blast, we're also going to include it in our business focus. It's also included in social media. So it kind of comes with a nice little package. So it's not just your independent e-blast, it kind of gets included in all the things. So we definitely encourage all of our members to take advantage of these opportunities and of the things that we offer. We're always happy to help however we can. So if our members maybe you don't know what your membership comes with, please call us, talk to Sarah. We are more than happy to make sure that you know what you can do and how to utilize your membership with us.
Right. Thanks, everybody. Again, some great resources out there. I think we're ready now to take questions. If you can remember what the presentations were about, and if you have jotted down some questions, let's hear them. We've got some really great people here that can help address those. And I would say we've got a small group here, so just go ahead and ask if you have one.
Good morning again. This is Dr. Norma. So if I want to post, we're having a adjunct fair on November 29th. So if I want to post that to a job board, just submit it. How would I go about doing that if I would like to post something for Colorado Mountain?
With Glenwood Chamber?
Yes.
Just if you would just send us an email, you could send it to Sara at glenwoodchamber.com, and it's in the chat there.
Thank you.
And you can also send it to me, Carolyn Tucker, and I'll put that in there as well. And we can post it on our Facebook. We have a Facebook thing for the Workforce Center. And so we're just trying to get as many opportunities for job seekers out there in as many different forms. And so I'll put my address in the chat, and we'll let all of our Workforce Center folks know about that opportunity. And that's a service we offer for free to help any job fair or anything like that.
And then I'm sure the Carbondale Chamber would love to share that information too. So yes, get that to Andrea and Katie.
Please do send that over, and we can help you post that. And we also have a member profile where you can log in and update or add. You can upload any photos or PDFs or anything into your profile specific to that job. So yes, please send it over. We'd be happy to help.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Outstanding. Thank you.
You know,
I have a question. We currently hosted a job fair about a month ago, and just wondering what other organizations are looking at in the future for job fairs and different things like that.
I can take a stab at that, Brian. Job fairs have been somewhat hit or miss, in person as well as virtual. And virtual seems to be pretty easy. But again, we're just not seeing that many people apply or even register for a job fair. For instance, we had a big mountain fair, mountain town virtual job fair that was all of the ski resorts across the state. And we had over 100 employers, and we had 69 people for a total of 8,000 jobs that were available. So it's, as we talked about before, it's a lot more complicated. So a lot of what we try and suggest to people is, do you have an employee referral program? Because word of mouth is one of the best ways to find people. So do you have that in place? Are you looking at every resume coming in and not having, I hate to say this about the applicant tracking system, but a lot of those weed out some people that might be good for you. One of the other things is, do you have a 4-year degree requirement, and have you looked at your job description to say, is this job really need a 4-year degree? Because we have an educated workforce out here in Glenwood and in the Roaring Fork Valley, but we also have a ton of people with less than a 4-year degree who have the skills and experience to do your job. So by getting rid of some of those requirements that might not necessarily need to be there for your skill base, you expand your job pool and train from within, which is another retention factor by offering training and promotional opportunities. So there's these little strategies that employers need to look at to widen the net for the potential employees. We just don't have the people.
Those are all great suggestions. We've implemented a lot of those. We have a referral bonus. We also have a retention bonus. for staying through a season for part-time seasonal positions, and have relaxed or replaced educational requirements with a and/or combination of experience and education, things like that.
Perfect. The other thing that we've seen and help facilitate too is our seasonal partners. So like the caverns, if you know Eric, and can we take some of their, when they lay off some of their summer seasonals, can we put them into winter seasonal jobs if that's something that works, or ski co and the caverns or the pool or something along those lines? Is who are your business partners that actually staff up on the exact opposite season that you do, and those relationships might yield a couple people. Again, it's not necessarily as crude as throwing spaghetti against a wall and seeing what sticks, but it really is, how creative can we be to find these people and offering part-time? Are we approaching our seniors who have all retired, but have found out that retirement is got too much time on my hands? Can we offer them part-time work and make it kind of a mix and match? Again, the strategies have got to be real creative to find all these people. But good job, Brian. I like what you guys are doing.
I really like CMC's internship programs as well. I think finding a way to keep making that more robust and helping students in academia make the transition into the workplace. A lot of us do need those entry-level positions, and so it's a good place. Even if we train them up and then they move on, I think it's a benefit both for the students coming out of there and the organizations.
See, Lynn, you
Yes.
raised your hand, and then Mary, but Lynn, go ahead.
Thank you, Tara. And Carolyn, great. I totally agree with you. For many of you who don't know me, Lynn Kirshner, I own Amore Realty, but actually my background is in human resources, 30 some years in human resources, and actually came to the Valley in the 80s, working with the airlines, and we started a job share program between the airlines and the hospitalities in the area, and shared employees. That was back in the day where you couldn't get anybody to pass a drug test. And it was always challenging to find employees. You had a lot of people that wanted to work, but a lot of people that couldn't pass a test. So, but some of the challenges that you spoke of today and things and the ideas and creativity, hitting the seniors is a great idea. Back to work moms, people who have been out of the workplace for several years, raising their families, coming back into the workforce. There are those people who want to work. And so I still do career counseling. I help probably a dozen people every quarter, and helping them understand what can they do to change their careers if they're in that situation. And looking at today's youth, I do a program at several of the high schools. What do I want to be when I grow up? Find something you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life kind of themes. And so I hit the community from that perspective with my human resources background. And it is so challenging. I mean, I find it ironic when someone comes to me and they say they can't find a job. And I very calmly ask if they go to the grocery store, and they go, yeah, I'm at the grocery store every day. I'm like, well, you pass a 6x8 sign that says help wanted, and getting people to accept and understand that jobs are available. I mean, I don't know anyone who's not hiring. And so, and that's a cultural thing as well. And I think, educating people that only in America do we have white collar, blue collar, and worker B levels. In other countries, you do a job, you do it proudly and with respect, and people respect you in your job. So it helps us to understand that every job has a purpose, and there is no such thing as just. she's never just the secretary, or he's just the garbage man, or that job is important to the sustainability of our communities. And once I have those conversations with people and they can let go of that image they have of a job, ironically or not, they find a job pretty quickly. And it may be something totally different than what they thought they were going to be doing, but you know what? They're happy at the end of the day, and that's what's important. So touching on what I do every day is help people trying with their housing. And the biggest thing right now, I know I help a couple of corporations with recruitment, bringing people in from outside the area. And the biggest challenge is housing. And, you know, where can we find people a place to live locally so that they don't have to commute an hour to an hour and a half away? And that's a whole nother topic, a whole nother day, a whole nother panel. But, you know, it's important that as an employer, you have some suggestions or resources and have the ability to pay attention to what that means to your workers. You know, that if they're commuting, you know, from Newcastle, Silt, Battlement, Mesa. I have 3 people that work here in Carbondale that commute every day from Grand Junction. And the good news is they get a commuter bus provided to them by the state because they qualify for the commuter program. And they have a designated driver. They shift each month and they drive from Grand Junction. They come to work here and then they drive back home. And the type of work that they do allows them variable shift and hour working, which is wonderful. So they can get here to Carbondale, you know, at 6:37 and leave by 3. So they're still spending 12 hours a day, quote, at work because they're driving so much, but at least they have a good job and they love their work. And so they come for the work. But I don't have the answer, unfortunately, about the housing. But educating and trying to educate more and more homeowners and people who do have rentals into being a little bit more flexible about roommate situations, you know, pets, all those kinds of things that tend to put them in a category of nobody wants them because, you know, you got to have a roommate. I can't, who can afford $2,400 a month rent for a 2-bedroom apartment? It's pretty crazy. So we're out there, we're trying to help, and I'm willing to work with employers to brainstorm, to collaborate efforts, put businesses together that maybe you can job share a person and see what we can do for the community. And thanks to you, Andrea, once again, another great program and making it happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate those words. Thank you.
Mary, you have your hand raised.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. The question, everything is amazing and thank you. We've been working with everything that you've been talking about and have decided that we're going to, our business would really benefit with hiring seniors because everything that needs to be done can be broken up into smaller and smaller pieces and have people be the experts in their piece, and therefore have really been interested in hiring or putting out the information to the retired community, but we're not quite sure how to do that. And aside from using the options that we've already been given here, thank you. Wondering if you could say more about how to contact the retired community and with offering them a job.
Carolyn, do you have any insight on that potentially?
You know, my husband's looking for work, so
Vintage Ski World. And in Vintage Ski World, the wonderful thing is a whole lot of retired people ski and love skiing. So, but how do, beside word of mouth, which we agree with, what do you say?
Well, you know, I know that the 100 Club is one of the only, I guess, formal active retiree group in the area. And They bike ride and ski and all this other stuff. And we've made some, outreach to them. And it really is kind of a soft sell, if you will. It's like these folks maybe don't have to work, but if we could get some of these retiree friendly jobs in front of them, I think that would work. The RSVP program, I checked with last summer, but that was in COVID. So I don't know. And I've seen advertisements that they're actually actively looking for RSVP participants. That's the CMC program. There's another person who is dealing with seniors, but more not necessarily active seniors. And so it's more on a senior meals type of thing. So that's the rough part. I think, maybe collectively what we could do in this group is come up with a retiree outreach program that says maybe it's an advertising on the chamber websites or CMC or the newspaper. We get the editor to come in and say, hey, retirees want to work part-time, want to do this or that, even volunteer or also get paid. And maybe we can collectively reach those folks, because it is a growing active group. But I don't think one of us can find them. I think if we collectively put something out there, maybe we can shake the bushes a little bit. So I throw that out there.
I really appreciate what you're saying, because from my point of view, knowing seniors from other parts of the country, not here, they're so equipped with massive experience and knowledge. And if they weren't grinding it for a company like they used to, but we're playing with it and getting creative with it, everybody wins.
But and another retention piece, and this is actually something that happens before those retirees walk out the door. And if you look at your workforce right now, what part of your workforce is 55 and up who could potentially retire? Is there a way that you can start a mentorship program with a newbie, a new employee, or someone on a leadership track, and pair those two up using that expertise that's going to walk out the door, share that expertise? The soon to be retired person will get something new out of that experience. They love sharing new the knowledge with the next up and coming generation, and you've retained both because you've provided training, mentorship, and different purpose. So that's before they walk out the door. But even if you bring in someone back, not just having them do a job, but do a little poking around and see, do they want to train? Do they want to help? Do they want to talk and mentor at that level? And I think that's a really great, fulfilling way on a part-time basis. My husband worked at the golf course this fall, had a blast, but he was training up some of the youngsters on work ethic and problem solving. And it sounds really funny, but here's an efficient way to fill up a golf cart, I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it worked for both, and is what I'm saying. And so we can get that mentorship program going, and it's a great strategy for businesses to connect the two.
Well, thank you. And the thing of losing the staff, and for very good reasons, none of them are available to come back. It's exhausting when you've lost all your staff and two people are doing the job of what used to be an office. Anybody that comes that has a passion for anything, any part of it, is such a gift. So if any of you on this call know somebody that's retired that would love to ski, that used to love to ski or still skis, tell them to call vintageskiworld.com. And I could put our number in, but that looks like it's kind of more for presenters to put in. So we're there. Thank you. Really, really appreciate what you guys put together today, and anything you put together for retirees. I think every retiree would be grateful.
Thank you, Mary. And you're more than welcome to put your information in that chat. That is for everyone. So please feel free to do that. And Lisa, I saw that you had your hand up, and then Andrea.
Hi again, everyone. I just wanted to mention that there might be some opportunity for partnerships. I just put an address in the chat. CMC still continues to receive grant monies from Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Fund, and it's specialized for different groups. And so one is something called Finish What You Started. And so if you have employees who maybe part of a benefit that you could help provide for them is continuing on with a degree or certificate. They've already accomplished some credits some time ago, but now if they were to contact CMC and be eligible for this Finish What You Started, they could get a grant or scholarship. So it might be little or no cost to you of an employer, but if you were to publicize, we can help you get your degree, partner with CMC, and strengthen their skill set, that might be an opportunity. In addition to the Finish What You Started, there are other COSI is the acronym, Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative, that people out there who have been impacted by COVID in some way can qualify for other types of funding. And there are some significant awards available, again, if they're working part-time and going to school part-time. It can be a good chunk of money that can help them, and it would be a little cost to an employer, but again, it helps to build an employee's skill, knowledge base, and so forth, and in return bring back those skills to your company. So I put that in the chat. I'll also put my contact information, and Yesenia Areola, and she is our Executive Director of Strategic Initiatives and oversees all of the COSI programs.
Thanks, Lisa. That's really helpful information. I also just wanted to follow up in regards to Mary's question and for outreach. The Carbondale Chamber, we have a single track membership, which is for businesses who perhaps have retired or employees of a business that's not yet a member of the Carbondale Chamber. So I would encourage you to reach out, because we do have a market for people that are looking for either paid or volunteer opportunities. We could have a whole workshop just on volunteers, especially seniors and those that have retired, getting them back into those volunteer positions after COVID, because I know oftentimes too, a lot of our volunteers in some of these spaces were at higher risk than others during COVID. So would just encourage you, Mary, to reach out to us. I also wanted to mention a lot of traditional media, whether that would be newspaper or radio, they are doing more to promote jobs. They also have some job posting boards, whether it's on their website or in the newspaper or over the air. So I would encourage you, Mary, to reach out to them as well for some opportunities, and most of them are free. So feel free to reach out. We can connect with you further and put that in our communication as well. Thank you.
Any other questions? It looks like folks are starting to drop off. Brian, do you have a question?
Yeah, we've been really interested in having better outreach with the Latinx community, and we recently hired an outreach coordinator to facilitate a lot of that and look at, what barriers to entry and participation might exist for that demographic. I'm curious what other organizations are doing to better reach out their job postings to that community.
This is Carolyn. We have actually a Spanish-speaking workforce person who's doing active outreach with the Latinx community in the Roaring Fork Valley, and working with them on resume, interview skills, things of that nature. It's slow going, but we're working on at least getting them comfortable with some of those interview skills and resumes, and even just navigating in English how to apply, because most all the job postings are in English. There's some pretty strong groups in the area that are mobilizing their Latinx groups as well to get them into the workforce. It's like I said, for us, it's a priority, a top priority, but it's a little slower going. But it's a critical demographic to pull into the workforce and keep them. So that's what we're doing at the Workforce Center.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. This was a great presentation and great questions, great resources. If you have other ideas of topics that would be helpful for you, please reach out. I'm sure that we would be glad to partner again with the Carbondale Chamber and anybody else that would be interested and willing to be a part of that. So if some of these specific topics might be a good next step on and how we can continue to try to solve this issue as best we can. So we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We do have this recorded and we'll share the slides. So if you want to provide it to your friends and colleagues, we'd be glad for you to do that. So thank you again. There's contact information in the chat too.
Angie, we did have two folks that raised their hands real quick.
Okay.
Rapid and Mary.
So if I'm up, just wondering, does anybody have a contact for the 100 Club? Would I find that in the online? Is it called the 100 Club?
I'm sure we could help you with that, Mary, and get that to you.
Okay. Vintage Ski World is listed for what that is. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And by the way, before I go, awesome, guys. This is just awesome. Thanks.
Okay, and this is Robert, and I was just going to say, Brian, you said something about being interested in learning more about the CMC internship program. I can tell you that, like I said, we've been working at it for 10 years. We think we have a quality program. We are, in the next, I would tell you, next several semesters, and in the next year or two or three, looking to scale that proven program up. So we should cross paths at some point. So I'm at the Breckenridge campus. You can feel free to reach out to me. My information is in the chat, and Dr. Norma is in Glenwood Springs. So feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome day.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. This is great.